What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're just going to talk about a couple things for new sellers. I know some of you who watch the channel are vets. You're more than welcome to continue watching the video and give me your opinions and comments below and let me know if you agree or not. And also, you can add any of your own experience, of course, to the comment section. Now, this just comes from, I just had a few thoughts as I watched different videos and different things like that, as pertains to when you first start reselling, whether it's on eBay, Amazon, Walmart, Poshmark, Macart, doesn't even matter. When you start reselling, what should you focus on? Because there's some things you need to be careful about. Now, the majority of people that start reselling are not coming into this with boatloads of cash, right? Most of us we get started with a few dollars, a few $100, maybe a few $1,000, but most of us are not starting off with a whole lot of cash. So two things I see newer resellers get caught up in. Number one, trying to do too much too fast. And number two, paying for things that you don't need at the moment. Okay, so let's address the first thing, trying to do too much too fast. What I think, in my opinion, the most important thing when you start reselling is to start with the basics, okay? Don't worry about all these other platforms. Worry about the platform that you choose to start on. And I think a lot of resellers don't take the time to consider and think strategically when it comes to choosing a platform. And once you choose that platform, understanding what type of items do well on that platform. And so I think it's important that once you select a platform to sell on, and I forgot whatnot, once you select a platform to sell on, understand what type of items usually do well on that platform, okay? Understand what type of items are in demand at the moment on that platform. Don't try to say, okay, I'm gonna sell on eBay, I'm gonna sell on Macari, and I'm gonna do this and that. Focus on the platform, focus on whatever items you sell. I'm not gonna go into should you be a niche seller or everything. I think at one point I vacillated back and forth between this, okay? I was like everything, then I'm like, no, niche. Now I'm back to when you're new, sell whatever you can. Just sell something. Start in your house, just sell something to get used to the process, but keep it as simple as possible. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't try to do too much. Learn, but don't over absorb information to the point where you begin to confuse yourself, okay? Now, this is going to take me into my second point, which is, besides trying to do too much too soon, I think some resellers, they want to do all the latest things like what softwares do I need, and should I get a cross lister, or should I have a VA, and should I do this and should I do that? So something you guys need to watch out for, okay? And this is one of the ways, and this isn't just reselling or resellers. This is anything that you usually see, right, with these business propositions on YouTube or whatever have you. They'll say, oh, get this software or get this program or use this. And guess what? It's a write-off. Well, guess what? It might be a write-off, but you still have to pay for it. And so the point that I'm making is pay attention to what money goes out of your business. Don't just buy something because it's a write-off. Don't just buy something because all these other resellers say that they use it and it's so great. Number one, start off with items you might have in your house. So if you got a printer at home, use that printer at home. If you got a computer at home that works fine, maybe it's a little slow, use that. You can list, right? Don't hire a lister. Do everything yourself first. Okay? And a write-off is not an excuse to create an expense that you don't need at the moment. I need you to understand that. Just because it's a write-off, number one, doesn't mean you even need it at all, but it definitely doesn't mean you need it at the moment. Maybe as you grow and you get your feet up under you, there comes a time when you can purchase said software, service, what have you. But in the beginning, don't worry about none of that. Just focus on the business of selling, learning the platform, learning the items, okay? So don't try to do too much and don't pay for things you don't need. All right, that's the main thing. And build your cash reserves. Build your cash reserves. So now you have a focus. You're not overspending. You're not buying things you don't need. And you're taking a certain percentage of your profits and you're putting it in reserves. Okay. And that's not counting what you may spend on, your cost of goods or whatever. But if you're just starting this, you're probably running this out of your house, right? A basement, a garage, a bedroom corner, whatever you write, but that's perfectly fine. Okay. You're using whatever computer you got, you're using whatever printer you got. And if you don't have any of those things, try to get them as cheap as possible. Don't go to the nearest resellers YouTube channel and click their affiliate link. And I'm not saying that as in a way not to support that reseller, but I'm only saying it in a sense that don't overspend. Okay. Don't overspend. You can check Marketplace first. See if you can find something local that's really cheap. Everybody talks about Rolo printers and this and that. Well, you don't need a Rolo printer right away. And honestly, when I started out, I used my regular roll inkjet printer. You can get away with that if you're not doing a lot of packages. That's perfectly fine. Once you start maybe getting more volume, you definitely want to get a thermal printer. But in the beginning, perfectly fine to use one of those. Yeah, you got to cut it and tape it on. That's fine initially. But one thing I like what Tech and Sports says a lot: low cost, no cost, man. Low cost, no cost. When you got to start up, you're just starting out in the business, you want to find out the cheapest way to do things, and there ain't nothing cheaper than free. Do everything yourself. Don't go looking for VAs. Don't go looking for a listing service. That's once you got established and you got things rolling and you know your business, you know your sourcing avenues, everything like that, right? You know your platforms and things are moving. And so now it's like, okay, time to, maybe add some help or bring in some help. And so in this video, I just want you to know, if you're new, don't overdo it. Don't try to do too much. Yeah, there's groups out there that may be helpful, but initially, in the beginning, just watch some YouTube videos. Ask questions in the comments. Ask questions in the groups. If you go to these face groups, I probably would suggest that you don't ask a question because people are rude and ignorant, and probably you'll get a lot of rude answers, and that can be discouraging. What I would do in the Facebook groups first, before I ask the question, is use their search bar and type in the question that you want to ask. Usually 9 times out of 10, somebody's already asked it, and you could save yourself. You can save yourself, man. I don't even know what you would want to call it, the embarrassment or just the stress of having those rude people who, we've asked this 1,000 times, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Save yourself all of that nonsense. Type in the search bar and you'll probably be able to go through and get your answers there. Typically, if you ask the question in most YouTubers' comments, it's a little more forgiving. It's not as bad as in the Facebook group. So if you must ask, probably better off asking in the YouTubers comments. One of your favorite YouTubers is comments section, and get the answer that way. I'm more than willing to answer any questions that are asked of me with no BS. So you can ask me anything you want, and if I can give you an answer, I will give you an answer. So remember, number 1, don't do too much too soon. Number 2, don't overspend. And just number 3, I know I only said 2 in the beginning, but number 3, take your time, take it slow, build up your cash reserves. Don't spend everything as soon as you get it. Okay? For instance, say you got an item, you paid 5, sold for 20. Okay? After fees, I don't know. Let's do a quick calculation. We're going to use the eProfit app. We're going to say we have an item. Item cost is $5. We're going to say we promoted this item at 5%. We're going to say this item sold, let's say $25, okay? And we'll say you charge shipping. We'll do this for you clothing sellers. All right, maybe it's a pair of jeans. So let's say the shipping charge was $8.99. And maybe since you use Ground Advantage, you only paid, I don't know, $6.75. Okay. So of course, this is all made up. So we got an item we paid $5 for. It sold for $25 plus shipping. And after fees and everything, we made $16.06. Cool. Not bad, right? That is a ROI of 136.68%. That is very good. Very good. Probably not very realistic for beginners in the beginning, but it can happen. Okay, so we got 136% profit on this item, $16. So what I would do every time this happened is I would take out what I need to buy another item and the rest will go to the side. Because if you're starting off, you shouldn't have many business expenses. Yeah, you got to get your labels and you know, printing paper if you're just using a regular inkjet or laser printer, things like that. So it's going to be hard to know initially what your supply cost will be. So maybe you just going to take that $5 back out, the same $5 that you spent on the item. You're going to take that out, put that to the side. Maybe you say to yourself, I'll take another $5 out for supplies. Put that to the side, okay? After that, you'll have $6.06 left. That whole $6.06 will go to a cash reserve, okay? However you want to do it. It could be a bank account. It could be a shoebox in your basement. Doesn't matter. However you so choose to do it, that $6.06 goes into a cash reserve, and you just continue to let that build. You can use it for opportunities. You can use it for expansion. You can use it for whatever. You already took out your, you got your cost of goods money back, so you can buy another item. You got your money for supplies, so you got money for supplies. And as you continue to build, these percentages will change based on profit per item, but you'll get the idea. The most important thing is to not overspend, to not buy things you don't need, and don't buy something just because a person tells you it's a tax write-off. That don't mean you need it. Don't mean you need it. It's a tax write-off, but it's still going to cost you something, okay? And if it's not going to be making you at minimum a double of what you're spending on it, minimum, right? If it's to help with efficiency, it has to increase your overall revenue, all right? You can't buy something and use it and still be making the same amount. It has to increase your overall revenue. So just keep these things in mind. So if you found this video helpful, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified next time I upload another video.